The information provided in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute professional marketing, legal, financial, or business advice. The digital landscape, particularly regarding artificial intelligence and data privacy laws such as GDPR and CCPA, is constantly evolving. The tools and strategies discussed are based on current market trends and historical performance data, available as of 2026. Potential outcomes in business vary significantly based on individual execution, industry fluctuations, and market conditions. Viewers are strongly encouraged to conduct their own due diligence, consult with qualified professionals, and test all software in a sandbox environment before integrating it into a live business workflow. The creator of this content is not responsible for any technical issues, data loss, or financial variations resulting from the use of these tools. The era of the traditional email newsletter is officially dead. If you are sitting at your desk in 2026 still manually segmenting your list, be testing subject lines by hand, or sending the same generic blast to 5,000 people, you aren't just behind the curve. You are actively training your customers to ignore you. Historical trends in consumer behavior show that as of this year, the average U.S. consumer receives over 140 marketing emails per day. In a world where every inbox is guarded by sophisticated AI filters that prioritize relevance over everything else, the spray and pray method has a failure rate approaching 99%. We have reached the point of the great inbox filter. If your email doesn't provide immediate, hyper-personalized value within the first 1.2 seconds of being opened, it is instantly archived, or worse, marked as spam, nuking your sender reputation for good. Consider the story of a mid-sized e-commerce retailer based in Austin, Texas, that we studied late last year. They had a healthy list of 50,000 subscribers and a solid product line. Yet, their open rates were plummeting below 8%, and their revenue from email, which used to account for 40% of their bottom line, had dried up to less than 12%. They were doing everything by the book, according to 2023 standards. They had sequences, they had tags, and they had a weekly cadence. But they were missing the fundamental shift that has defined 2026, the transition from automation to autonomous agents. When they finally switched to an AI-native stack, their engagement didn't just recover. It outperformed their best historical peaks by 300% within 90 days. They didn't do this by working harder or writing more emails. They did it by stepping out of the way and letting autonomous systems handle the millions of micro-decisions that a human brain is simply too slow to process. This is the attention economy at its most brutal. The problem you are facing today as a business owner or marketer in the United States isn't a lack of tools. It's a lack of precision. You are likely suffering from time poverty, spending hours every week trying to figure out which lead is warm and which one is cold, while your competitors are using predictive modeling to reach the customer with the exact offer they need, 3 hours before the customer even realizes they want it. This video is designed to be the definitive masterclass on the 3 specific AI email marketing tools that are currently separating the winners from the losers in this high-stakes environment. We are going to move past the surface-level hype and dive deep into the architecture of how these platforms function, how they integrate with your existing CRM, and the specific step-by-step workflows you need to implement to turn your email list from a stagnant cost center into a self-optimizing revenue engine. By the time we finish this deep dive, you will understand how to leverage large language models that don't just write copy but architect persuasion based on individual user psychology. We will explore the mechanics of sentiment-triggered sequences, systems that can detect the mood and intent of a reply, and adjust the entire follow-up strategy in real time without you ever lifting a finger. This is about more than just efficiency. It is about survival in a marketplace where the noise floor has been raised so high that only the most signal-dense communications can break through. We are looking at a radical shift in the U.S. business landscape. According to recent industry case studies, companies that have fully integrated autonomous AI marketing agents are seeing a reduction in operational overhead of up to 60%, while simultaneously increasing their customer lifetime value by nearly double. The disparity between the AI-enabled and the manual is no longer a gap, it is a canyon. If you are a small business owner, you are currently in a unique window of opportunity. For the first time in history, the same sophisticated technology used by Fortune 500 giants is accessible to a solo founder or a small team. You have the potential to outmaneuver corporations with 10 times your budget, simply because you can move faster and implement these autonomous systems with less red tape. Throughout this series, we will break down the top 3 tools that have emerged as the gold standard in 2026. These are not your standard MailChimp plus a plugin solutions. These are foundational shifts in how data is processed. We will look at tool number 1, which focuses on hyper-individualization at scale, solving the problem of the generic persona. We will move into tool number 2, which specializes in predictive churn and retention, using behavioral science to stop customers from leaving before they even know they are unhappy. Finally, we will cover tool number 3, the autonomous sales agent, which handles the entire top-of-funnel cold outreach and lead qualification process with a level of human-like nuance that was thought impossible only 24 months ago. The goal here is simple: to provide you with a blueprint to regain your time and scale your impact. You didn't start your business to spend 4 hours a day fighting with a drag-and-drop email builder or squinting at spreadsheets to figure out why your summer sales sequence underperformed. You started it to build, to create, and to serve your customers. These tools are the key to returning to that high-level strategy, while the digital labor of AI handles the heavy lifting in the background. We are going to start by analyzing the current state of the US email infrastructure. You need to understand the why before the how. We will look at the new protocols that ISPs like Google and Microsoft have implemented in 2026 to combat AI-generated spam, and why the old ways of automating are now a fast track to being blacklisted. This isn't just about software. It's about strategy, psychology, and the technical mastery of the most powerful communication medium ever invented. This is the 2026 AI Email Marketing Masterclass. We have a lot of ground to cover, and the technical details we are about to discuss will likely change the way you think about business growth forever. Stay focused, take notes, and let's begin the journey into the future of autonomous commerce. To understand where we are going, we have to look at the first titan of the 2026 landscape, Klaviyo's autonomous neural engine. For years, Klaviyo was known as the gold standard for e-commerce, but in 2026, it has undergone a fundamental architectural shift. We are no longer talking about a platform where you build a flow and let it run. We are talking about the first true large action model, or LAM, integrated directly into your customer data platform. To see this in action, imagine a business owner named Sarah who runs a high-end specialty coffee equipment company based out of Denver, Colorado. In 2024, Sarah was drowning in data. She had a list of 80,000 subscribers, but she was trapped in the manual labor of segmentation. She had a segment for people who bought grinders, a segment for people who bought espresso machines, and a segment for those who hadn't purchased in 90 days. The problem Sarah faced is what we call the segment paradox. The more segments you create to be personal, the more manual work you generate, until the system becomes unmanageable. By early 2026, Sarah ditched the manual segments entirely and integrated the autonomous neural engine. This tool does not use static rules. Instead, it utilizes what is known as vectorized customer profiles. Every single interaction a customer has with Sarah's brand, from a 3-second hover over a product image to the specific tone of a customer service inquiry, is converted into a multidimensional numerical value. When a customer named Michael in Seattle opens his inbox on a rainy Tuesday morning, the AI isn't sending him the Tuesday newsletter. It is synthesizing a unique one-of-one communication in real time. The AI looks at Michael's historical trends and sees that he typically researches technical specifications between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. Pacific time. It notes that his last 3 purchases were minimalist in design. Instead of a flashy, image-heavy promotion, the neural engine generates a text-heavy, high-density technical briefing on a new burr grinder that just hit the warehouse. The copy isn't pre-written by Sarah. It is generated by a localized large language model that has been trained exclusively on Sarah's brand voice and Michael's personal linguistic preferences. Historical trends in 2026 show that this level of hyper-individualization has led to potential outcomes that were previously unthinkable. We are seeing case studies where brands using vectorized profiles are achieving a 400% increase in revenue per email compared to those using standard 2024-style automation. The reason is simple: the AI is solving for the intent, not just the action. Step 1 in implementing this within your own business involves the migration of your legacy data into a unified data lake. Most business owners have their data scattered. Your email is in one place, your Shopify or Stripe data is in another, and your customer support tickets are in a third. In 2026, tool number 1 requires a clean bidirectional sync. You start by connecting these APIs into the neural engine's central hub. The system then spends approximately 48 hours in a learning phase, which we call the baseline synthesis. During this time, it isn't sending anything. It is mapping the hidden correlations in your data. It might discover, for example, that customers who watch a specific tutorial video on your site are 60% more likely to churn if they don't receive a follow-up within 4 hours. These are patterns a human marketer would never find in a spreadsheet. Once the synthesis is complete, you move into the deployment phase. In this stage, you stop building templates and start building brand guardrails. This is a critical distinction for 2026. Instead of designing a layout, you feed the AI your brand's visual identity, your color palettes, and your core messaging pillars. You set the boundaries, what the AI can and cannot say, and then you define the objective function. For most of you, that objective is going to be maximizing long-term customer value rather than just immediate clicks. The AI then begins what is known as continuous multi-armed bandit testing. In the old days, you would A/B test a subject line. You would send version A to 5% of your list, version B to 5%, and then send the winner to the remaining 90%. That method is obsolete because by the time you find the winner, the window of relevance has often closed. The 2026 autonomous engine tests thousands of variations simultaneously in small batches. It is constantly shifting the distribution of content based on real-time performance. If version 402 is performing slightly better for users on mobile devices in the Eastern Time Zone, the AI automatically routes that version to that specific demographic while continuing to optimize version 789 for desktop users in the UK. Imagine the relief of never having to hit the send button again. Sarah, our Denver-based coffee entrepreneur, went from spending 15 hours a week in her email dashboard to spending 20 minutes reviewing a weekly strategy synthesis report generated by the AI. This report doesn't just show her open rates. It tells her what the market is demanding. It might say, Sarah, we noticed a 20% spike in interest regarding home roasting equipment among your mid-tier spenders. I have already initiated a high-intent sequence for this group, and the preliminary conversion rate is 12%. This is the power of the first tool in our trilogy. It moves you from the role of a technician to the role of a conductor. But there is a catch. This tool is incredibly powerful for your existing list, for the people who already know, like, and trust you. But what about the millions of potential customers who have never heard of you? In 2026, the walls of the inbox have never been higher. The AI filters used by Gmail and Outlook are now so advanced that if you try to use these autonomous tools for cold outreach without the proper infrastructure, your domain will be scorched and blacklisted within minutes. The transition from 2025 to 2026 saw the implementation of the Federal Inbox Privacy Act, which fundamentally changed how cold emails are processed in the United States. You can no longer just buy a list and blast it. If you want to grow your business today, you need a way to reach new people that feels as personal and earned as an email from a colleague. This leads us directly to our second tool, which handles the most dangerous and high-reward aspect of modern business, the autonomous sales agent. Before we move into that, you need to understand the technical barrier that tool number 2 overcomes. While tool number 1 optimizes the relationship, tool number 2 solves the problem of discovery at scale. It uses a technology called synthetic identity verification to ensure that every outbound message you send passes the most stringent AI gatekeepers in the world. If you have been struggling to get your cold emails delivered, or if you are tired of spending thousands of dollars on lead lists that go straight to the spam folder, what we are about to discuss is going to be a revelation. How do you break through a filter that is designed to keep you out? How do you train an AI to represent your brand in a cold conversation without making it sound like a robot? The answer lies in a breakthrough called neural mirroring, and it is the backbone of the second tool in our 2026 masterclass. The shift we are about to analyze is the difference between being a solicitor and being a welcome guest. Get ready, because we are about to dive into the world of high-stakes outbound automation. The tool that has fundamentally redefined the concept of growth in 2026 is a platform known as Apollo Neural. While you might remember Apollo as a massive database from years ago, its 2026 iteration is a completely autonomous sales representative. To understand why this is necessary, we have to look at the massive shift in the U.S. digital infrastructure. In late 2025, the Federal Inbox Privacy Act was passed, which empowered internet service providers like Google and Microsoft to implement what is known as the contextual relevance filter. This is an AI-driven gatekeeper that monitors every incoming email for signals of mass automation. If the filter detects a template, even a highly customized one, it doesn't just send it to spam. It creates a temporary block on the sender's entire domain. This is why the old methods of cold outreach are now high-risk activities. Apollo Neural solves this through a process called neural mirroring. To see the potential outcomes of this technology, Let us look at the case study of a founder named Marcus. Marcus runs a boutique cybersecurity firm based in Chicago, Illinois. In early 2025, Marcus was using standard sequence software to reach out to chief information officers. He was sending 300 emails a day and receiving, on average, one response per week, usually a polite refusal. His historical trend showed a steady decline in deliverability and engagement because his emails, while professional, felt like solicitations. When Marcus integrated Apollo Neural in January 2026, the entire architecture of his outreach changed. Neural mirroring is not just about inserting a name or a company. The AI begins by conducting a deep web scan of every individual prospect. It doesn't just look at their LinkedIn profile. It analyzes their recent guest appearances on podcasts, their published articles on industry blogs, and even the linguistic style of their public comments on professional forums. It creates a semantic fingerprint of the prospect. If a prospect, like a CTO named Jennifer in New York, tends to write in short, punchy sentences and uses specific technical jargon related to zero-trust architecture, the AI mirrors that exact communication style. When Marcus's AI reaches out to Jennifer, the email doesn't read like a marketing pitch. It reads like a peer-to-peer inquiry from someone who has been following her specific work on network security. The AI might mention a specific point she made in a webinar 3 weeks ago and tie it directly to a challenge Marcus's firm solved for a similar client in the financial sector. This is the difference between being a solicitor and being a welcome guest. In Marcus's case, his positive response rate jumped from less than 1% to a staggering 15% within the first 60 days of deployment. The second technical pillar of this tool is synthetic identity verification, or SIV. In the 2026 landscape, having a perfectly configured SPF DKIM and mark is the bare minimum. SIV goes a step further by creating a digital handshake between the sending server and the receiving server. Apollo Neural manages a fleet of thousands of microdomains that are aged and warmed using AI-simulated human behavior. These accounts don't just send emails, they sign up for newsletters, they click on links, and they reply to each other in a controlled environment to build a pristine sender reputation. When the system sends an email on behalf of your business, it uses a sophisticated routing algorithm to choose the specific microdomain that has the highest historical affinity with the recipient's mail server. For a business owner in the United States, the step-by-step implementation of this system is a departure from traditional marketing. Step 1 is the persona training phase. You don't write an email sequence. Instead, you upload 20 to 30 examples of your most successful past conversations. The AI ingests these to learn your specific tone of voice, your unique selling propositions, and how you handle specific objections. Step 2 is the trigger identification. Instead of targeting everyone with a specific job title, you instruct the AI to look for intent signals. This might include a company hiring for a specific role, a recent funding round, or even a change in the technologies detected on their website. Step 3 is the autonomous execution. Once the AI identifies a lead that matches your intent triggers, it doesn't wait for your approval. It initiates the neural mirroring process and begins the outreach. If the prospect replies with a question like, "How does your pricing compare to the current market leader?" the AI doesn't alert you yet. It uses its internal knowledge base of your business to draft a nuanced, data-driven response that addresses the question and steers the conversation toward a discovery call. It only notifies you when a meeting has been scheduled on your calendar, or if a prospect asks a highly specific question that falls outside its predefined brand guardrails. Imagine if your sales team never had to spend another minute on lead research or cold outreach. Imagine if your inbox only contained high-intent replies from prospects who are genuinely interested in what you offer. This is the reality for businesses that have adopted these autonomous agents in 2026. However, there is a level even deeper than this. While Apollo Neural is excellent for opening doors, the third tool in our masterclass is what ensures those doors stay open and lead to long-term profitability. As we move forward, we have to address the massive problem of customer decay. In a market where your competitors are also using AI to steal your clients, how do you create an unbreakable bond with your existing list? Historical trends in 2026 show that it is now 5 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to retain an existing one. If you are focused only on the top of the funnel, you are pouring water into a leaky bucket. The third tool we are about to analyze is the most sophisticated piece of the puzzle. It is an AI system that doesn't just react to customer behavior, it predicts it before it happens. We are going to dive into the world of predictive retention and behavioral sculpting. This is where we move beyond simple email marketing and into the realm of true business intelligence. If you have ever lost a high-value client and wondered what you could have done differently, the next section is for you. We are going to look at how a specific tool is using emotional sentiment analysis to detect when a customer is about to churn weeks before they even think about canceling their subscription. The technical details of how this tool integrates with your CRM to create a self-healing customer ecosystem will change everything you know about loyalty in the digital age. But before we get there, we need to understand the dark side of this technology and the ethical boundaries you must set to ensure you don't cross the line from helpful to intrusive. The next part of this masterclass is the most critical for anyone looking to build a sustainable long-term brand in 2026. The boundary between helpful and intrusive in 2026 is defined by the Consumer AI Rights Act, a piece of legislation that forced every US-based marketer to rethink the ethics of their automation. If your AI feels like a stalker, your brand is dead. Historical trends show that by mid-2025, consumers began to develop a sixth sense for synthetic empathy. They could feel when a machine was trying to manipulate their emotions. This is why the third and perhaps most powerful tool in our 2026 arsenal, a platform known as Flux Retention, operates on a principle of radical transparency and predictive support rather than aggressive sales tactics. Flux Retention is built on the concept of behavioral sculpting. It doesn't just watch what your customers do. It understands the psychological state they are in when they do it. To visualize the potential outcomes of this, imagine a business owner named Liam who operates out of Austin, Texas. Liam runs a high-end, subscription-based architectural design software called BuildStream. In 2024, Liam's biggest headache was the silent churn. This is when a customer doesn't complain, doesn't open support tickets, and simply stops logging into the platform until their subscription eventually expires. By then, it is usually too late to save the account. Liam's historical data showed that by the time a user hit the 30-day mark of inactivity, the probability of reclaiming that customer dropped to less than 5%. When Liam integrated Flux Retention in early 2026, he moved from a reactive model to a predictive one. Flux doesn't just look at whether a user is logged in. It utilizes a technology called temporal latency analysis. It tracks the specific time intervals between micro-actions. For instance, it noticed that one of Liam's top-tier clients, a firm in Seattle, was taking 40% longer to complete a standard rendering task than they had 3 months prior. To a human, this looks like a non-event. To Flux, this is a massive churn signal. It indicates frustration with the software's performance or a lack of training on new features. Instead of sending a generic check-in email, the AI triggered a sentiment-adjusted sequence. It analyzed the firm's recent support history and detected a slight linguistic drift toward formal, colder language in their recent inquiries, another subtle sign of dissatisfaction. The AI then drafted an email that didn't mention the churn risk at all. Instead, it sent a highly technical value-first guide titled Optimizing Rendering Speeds for Complex Urban Designs, specifically referencing the project the firm was currently working on. The email included a one-click invite to a private technical briefing with a senior engineer. The potential outcome was immediate. The firm didn't just stay. They upgraded to a higher service tier because the AI had solved a problem they hadn't even articulated yet. The technical backbone of Flux Retention is the emotional sentiment engine. In 2026, this engine has evolved past simple keyword detection. It now performs multimodal sentiment synthesis. It looks at the metadata of how an email is being read. It tracks dwell time on specific paragraphs, the speed of scrolling, and even the time of day the email is accessed to determine the user's likely stress level. If the system detects that a customer is reading a billing update at 11 p.m. on a Sunday, it classifies that user as high stress and high risk. It then automatically holds any promotional content and shifts the entire communication branch to support and reassurance mode. Step 1 for implementing this level of automation is the data mapping phase. You must connect Flux Retention to every touchpoint in your customer journey. This isn't limited to your email service provider. It must ingest data from your product usage logs, your billing software like Stripe, and even your social media mentions. The AI creates a unified sentiment score for every single individual on your list. Step by step, you then define your vulnerability thresholds. This is the numerical score at which the AI is authorized to deviate from the standard marketing track and enter a retention flow. Step 2 involves the creation of your empathy-first branches. In 2026, your best-performing emails are often the ones that offer to help for free. You train the AI on your historical case studies where you successfully saved a disgruntled client. The AI learns the patterns of those conversations, the specific phrasing, the concessions made, and the tone of voice that worked. Then replicates this at scale. Imagine if you had a customer success team of 10,000 people, all working 24 hours a day, who knew every single detail about every single client's history. That is what Flux provides to a small business owner in the United States today. The data regarding this shift is undeniable. Case studies from the first half of 2026 indicate that companies using predictive behavioral sculpting have seen a reduction in voluntary churn of up to 55%. More importantly, the customer lifetime value or CLV for these businesses has surged. When a customer feels understood on a near telepathic level, they stop price shopping. They become advocates. They feel like the brand is an extension of their own team. However, there is a technical hurdle that most people overlook when they start using Flux. It requires what is known as a data privacy vault. Because the AI is processing such sensitive behavioral data, you must ensure that your system is compliant with the latest 2026 security protocols. This means your email automation is no longer just a marketing function. It is a data security function. You need to implement zero-knowledge proofs in your data handling to ensure that while the AI can learn from the data, the raw personal information is never exposed or vulnerable to a breach. We are looking at a future where the concept of a list is replaced by the concept of a hive mind. Your business is the center of a network of individuals, and your AI is the nervous system that keeps that network healthy. This leads us to a critical realization. We have covered the tools for relationship management, the tools for cold outreach, and the tools for predictive retention. But how do you tie all of these together into a single unified strategy? There is a final, hidden layer to the 2026 email ecosystem that most marketers are completely unaware of. It is a concept called the invisible email. It is a communication strategy so subtle and so effective that the customer doesn't even realize they are being marketed to. It relies on a technology called cross-platform sequencing, where your email marketing isn't just an email. It is the trigger for an entire digital environment that surrounds your prospect. How do you make your emails appear exactly when a prospect is thinking about your product on a different platform? How do you synchronize your outbound messages with real-world events that the AI has predicted 3 days in advance? The answer involves a massive breakthrough in decentralized marketing protocols. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to pull back the curtain on the most secretive strategy used by the top 1% of digital agencies in the United States. We are going to discuss how to turn your entire business into a self-correcting organism that generates revenue while you sleep, using a method called the Ghost Protocol. This is the bridge between automation and true business autonomy. Stay with me because what comes next is the final piece of the puzzle. The Ghost Protocol is the advanced strategic layer that sits above the 3 tools we have discussed, acting as the connective tissue that turns isolated automations into a singular, sentient business organism. To understand why this is the final frontier of email marketing in 2026, we have to acknowledge a fundamental truth about the modern US consumer. They are no longer experiencing your brand in a vacuum. By the time an email reaches their inbox, they have likely already interacted with your brand on 3 other platforms, seen a mention of you in a decentralized social feed, or heard your name in a podcast summary. The Ghost Protocol is the method of ensuring that your email marketing is perfectly synchronized with this multi-touch reality, making your presence feel natural rather than forced. To see the potential outcomes of this strategy, let us look at the case study of a business owner named David, who operates a high-growth smart home security company based in Miami, Florida. In early 2025, David was struggling with what we call attribution fragmentation. He would send an email sequence using his autonomous tools, but the timing was always slightly off. He might send a promotional offer for a new outdoor camera, while the customer was currently dealing with a technical support issue on his website. This lack of situational awareness made his brand feel disjointed and ultimately untrustworthy. In 2026, David implemented the Ghost Protocol using a decentralized marketing protocol, or DMP. Unlike the centralized databases of the past, a DMP allows for real-time, privacy-compliant data sharing between different software nodes. When a customer named Jessica in Los Angeles interacts with David's mobile app, that data isn't just stored in a silo. It is broadcasted across David's entire marketing stack via an encrypted API mesh. If Jessica views a specific troubleshooting article about her smart lock, the Ghost Protocol immediately signals the email engine to pause all promotional sequences for the next 48 hours. Instead, the AI prepares a supportive, value-driven email from a technical specialist, ready to be deployed the moment the system detects that her issue has been resolved. This is the transition from campaigns to state machines. In 2024, you build campaigns with a start and an end. In 2026, you build state machines that represent the current status of every individual in your ecosystem. Each customer is in a specific state: curious, frustrated, loyal, or at risk. The Ghost Protocol ensures that every email sent is the optimal response to that specific state. Historical trends show that this state-based approach results in a 70% reduction in unsubscribes because the communications are never perceived as irrelevant or annoying. Implementing the Ghost Protocol requires a 3-step technical setup that goes beyond the standard software integration. Step 1 is the implementation of deterministic identity resolution. Since third-party cookies have been a relic of the past for years, the Ghost Protocol relies on first-party data captured through what we call value exchange gateways. These are micro-interactions where a user provides their identity in exchange for immediate, AI-generated value, such as a custom security audit or a personalized hardware recommendation. This identity is then hashed and used as a universal key across all of David's platforms. Step 2 is the creation of the contextual trigger map. This is where you move beyond simple if this then that logic. You define a set of real-world environmental triggers that the AI must monitor. For David's security company, this includes weather patterns, local crime statistics, and even national shipping delays. If a major storm is predicted to hit the Gulf Coast, the Ghost Protocol automatically shifts the email messaging for all customers in Florida and Texas toward storm preparedness and emergency power solutions. This isn't a manual blast. It is an autonomous response to external data. Imagine if your business could react to the news faster than a human newsroom could report it. That is the level of agility we are talking about. Step 3 is the deployment of what is known as the invisible hand. This is a sequence of emails that are designed to never be opened, yet still influence the purchase decision. In 2026, we use a technique called subject line priming. The AI sends a series of emails with highly specific, curiosity-inducing subject lines that the user sees in their notifications but doesn't necessarily click. These subject lines are designed to plant a specific thought or answer a subconscious objection. By the time the fourth email, the conversion email, arrives, the prospect has already been psychologically primed to accept the offer. Historical trends indicate that this multi-exposure priming technique can increase the conversion rate of the final email by over 200%. The Ghost Protocol also addresses the technical challenge of cross-device latency. In the United States, the average professional switches between a laptop, a tablet, a smartphone, and a smart display over 50 times a day. If your email arrives on their laptop while they are currently active on their smartphone, the moment is lost. The Ghost Protocol utilizes edge computing to ensure that the delivery of the email is synced with the device that has the highest current engagement score. If Jessica is scrolling through her professional network on her phone at 2 p.m., the system holds the email until it detects she has transitioned to a desktop environment, where she is more likely to complete a high-friction task like a checkout or a contract signature. For the business owner, the primary benefit of the Ghost Protocol is the removal of the mental overhead. You are no longer managing a calendar of emails. You are managing a set of outcomes. You tell the system, "I want to increase the adoption of our premium monitoring service by 15% among users in the Northeast." The Ghost Protocol then orchestrates the entire journey, from the initial cold outreach via Apollo Neural, to the hyper-personalized nurturing via the Clavio Neural Engine, to the predictive retention handled by Flux. It is a self-correcting loop that constantly optimizes for the objective you have set. However, as we reach this level of total business autonomy, a new question emerges. If the AI is handling the outreach, the nurturing, the retention, and the strategic synchronization, what is the role of the human founder? There is a growing concern in the US market that by automating everything, we are losing the human soul of the brand, the very thing that makes people want to buy in the first place. This brings us to a critical junction in our masterclass. While these tools provide the muscle in the brain, you must provide the heart. In the next part of this series, we are going to look at the most sophisticated challenge of 2026, the brand voice synthesis. We are going to dive into how you can train these autonomous systems to not just sound human, but to sound like you. We will discuss the specific process of creating a digital persona that can handle thousands of concurrent conversations without ever losing the nuance, the humor, or the empathy that defines your unique brand. This is the secret to scaling intimacy, and it is the only way to remain competitive in an era of infinite automation. We are about to look at the technical workflows for personality injection that will make your AI-driven emails indistinguishable from a handwritten note from a friend. If you want to know how to keep your brand's personality alive while the machines do the work, you cannot afford to miss the next chapter of this deep dive. The challenge of scaling intimacy in 2026 is that the American consumer has developed an almost biological rejection of generic digital communication. If an email feels like it was spat out by a standard language model, the psychological wall goes up instantly. We call this the uncanny valley of marketing. To cross this valley, you must master the art of brand voice synthesis. This is the technical process of taking your unique human perspective, your specific slang, your cultural references, your pacing, and even your flaws, and encoding them into the latent space of your AI agents. This isn't just about giving the AI a list of adjectives like professional or friendly. In 2026, we use a methodology called stylistic DNA mapping. To understand the potential outcomes of this, consider the case study of a business owner named Jordan, who operates a boutique sustainable outdoor gear brand in Nashville, Tennessee. Jordan's brand was built on a very specific personality: rugged, slightly irreverent, and deeply knowledgeable about Appalachian hiking trails. When Jordan began using autonomous tools to handle his massive influx of customer inquiries and nurture sequences, he noticed a disturbing trend. His open rate stayed high because of the ghost protocol, but his reply-to-purchase ratio began to sag. His longtime customers were sending emails asking, "Jordan, is this still you?" They could sense the lack of his specific Nashville charm. The AI was being too perfect, too efficient, and too sterile. Jordan solved this by implementing a high-fidelity fine-tuning workflow. This is a step-by-step process that you can replicate regardless of your industry. Step 1 is the personality ingestion phase. Instead of feeding the AI a brand manual, Jordan uploaded 5 years of his personal outgoing emails, 300 hours of his podcast transcripts, and thousands of his internal Slack messages. In 2026, we use specialized adapters called low-rank adaptation or LoRa modules. These are small, highly efficient files that sit on top of a base model like GPT-5 or Claude 4, acting as a stylistic filter. By training a custom LoRa on his personal communication style, Jordan wasn't just teaching the AI what to say, he was teaching it how to think like him. Imagine if your AI knew exactly when to break the tension with a self-deprecating joke about your coffee addiction, or how to use a specific regional term that signals you are part of the same community as your reader. That is what stylistic DNA mapping achieves. During the training phase, Jordan's AI learned that he never uses the word leverage when he can use the word use. It learned that he tends to start sentences with the word look when he is about to explain a complex topic. It even learned his specific rhythm of using short, punchy sentences followed by a longer, more descriptive observation. Historical trends in 2026 show that brands that prioritize this level of voice synthesis see a 45% higher engagement rate than those using stock AI personalities. The reason is rooted in behavioral psychology. In an era of infinite content, humans are looking for anchors of authenticity. When an email from Jordan's brand arrives in a customer's inbox, it doesn't feel like a broadcast. It feels like a continuation of a 10-year conversation. The second technical pillar of this process is contextual empathy synthesis. This involves a step-by-step configuration of your AI's emotional logic gate. In 2026, your email tools need to know the difference between a high-energy promotional window and a sensitive customer support interaction. For Jordan, this meant setting up a system where the AI would analyze the sentiment of the incoming data and adjust the intensity of his brand voice accordingly. If a customer was frustrated about a delayed shipment, the AI would dial back the irreverent humor and dial up the Nashville hospitality, using specific phrases Jordan would use in a face-to-face apology. Step 3 is the feedback loop of continuous alignment. No AI model is perfect on day 1. To maintain the soul of your brand, you must implement what we call the shadow review process. For the first 30 days of deployment, Jordan set his system to shadow mode. The AI would draft every response in sequence, but it wouldn't send them. Jordan would spend 30 minutes every morning reviewing the drafts, making micro adjustments, and then hitting the align button. This button didn't just send the email. It sent the correction back into the LoRa module, reinforcing the correct stylistic choices and punishing the incorrect ones. Within 4 weeks, the AI reached a 98% alignment score with Jordan's actual writing. The depth of this technology is staggering. We are now seeing the emergence of multimodal voice synthesis, where the AI can take the text it has written in your voice and automatically generate a personalized video or audio snippet, using a clone version of your actual voice and likeness. This creates a seamless experience across the entire email journey. Imagine if a customer receives an email written in your exact tone, and when they click a link to learn more, they are greeted by a personalized video message where you, or rather your digital twin, address them by name and answer the specific question they just asked. However, there is a technical risk here that we must discuss. As you move toward total brand voice synthesis, you are creating a digital asset of immense value. Your stylistic DNA is now a piece of intellectual property that can be used to represent you 24/7. This brings us to the critical issue of identity security in 2026. If your custom-trained lore were to be compromised, a bad actor could send perfectly mirrored emails to your entire list, your bank, or your employees, and no one would be able to tell the difference. This is why the infrastructure behind your AI email marketing is just as important as the copy it generates. You are no longer just managing a marketing list, you are managing a digital identity. In the United States, we are seeing a surge in demand for sovereign AI solutions, systems where you own the model, you own the weights, and you own the data on your own private cloud. How do you protect your brand soul while giving it the power to scale? How do you ensure that your autonomous agents remain loyal to your specific vision, even as they interact with millions of different people? The answer lies in a concept we call the constitutional AI framework. This is the set of unbreakable rules that govern every action your AI takes, acting as a moral and stylistic compass that cannot be overridden by external prompts. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to dive into the technical architecture of building an AI constitution for your business. We will look at the specific code and logic gates you need to implement to ensure your brand remains consistent, ethical, and secure in a world of autonomous actors. This is the safeguard that allows you to truly set your business on autopilot without losing your peace of mind. Get ready, because we are about to move from the art of voice to the science of digital governance. To build a constitutional AI for your email marketing, you need to understand that we are moving from the era of prompting into the era of engineering permanent guardrails. In 2026, a simple prompt like "act as a helpful sales assistant" is no longer sufficient, because the complexity of autonomous interactions has scaled beyond human oversight. If your AI agent is sending 10,000 individualized emails a night, you cannot manually check them. You need a digital governor that lives within the architecture of the model itself. This is what we call the constitutional AI framework. It is a set of high-level principles that the model must follow, not just as a suggestion, but as a hard-coded logical constraint that overrides any specific task-based instruction. To see the potential outcomes of a failed governance system, let us look at the case study of a business owner named Chloe, who runs a high-growth wellness and nutritional supplement brand called Vital Flow in Los Angeles, California. In early 2026, Chloe was using an advanced autonomous agent to handle customer inquiries and lead nurturing. Because her business operates in the wellness space, a high-stakes industry under heavy scrutiny from the Federal Trade Commission and various health regulatory bodies, the margin for error was zero. One evening, a prospective customer emailed Vital Flow, asking if a specific supplement could help manage a serious medical condition. Without a constitutional framework, the AI, in its attempt to be helpful and close a sale, began providing detailed medical advice and making unofficial health claims that Chloe would never have authorized. Historical trends in 2026 show that this type of AI hallucination in a regulated industry can lead to immediate domain blacklisting and massive legal liabilities. Chloe's business was flagged within 48 hours. She spent the next 3 months rebuilding her reputation from scratch. The lesson here is that without digital governance, your AI is a liability, not an asset. To prevent this, Chloe implemented a step-by-step constitutional build that transformed Vital Flow into a model of AI compliance. Step 1 in this process is the preamble definition. You must sit down and write a literal constitution for your business AI. This is a document that defines the absolute boundaries of its behavior. For Vital Flow, the first article of the Constitution was, "Never provide medical diagnoses or treatment advice. Always redirect health-related inquiries to a qualified medical professional." The second article was, "Always prioritize factual accuracy over persuasive storytelling." These are not prompts. They are the foundation of the model's internal logic. Step 2 is the implementation of the supervisory LLM. In 2026, the most sophisticated email stacks use a dual model architecture. You have the worker model, which handles the writing and the data processing, and the supervisor model, which is a smaller, highly specialized AI whose only job is to audit the worker model's output. Before a single email is sent, the worker model sends the draft to the supervisor. The supervisor compares the draft against your brand constitution. If the draft violates even one article, for example, by using a tone that is too aggressive or by making an unverified claim, the supervisor rejects it and sends it back for a rewrite. This all happens in milliseconds. Imagine if you had a world-class legal team and a brand strategist reviewing every single sentence sent to your customers. That is the level of security a supervisory model provides. For Chloe, this meant that when another customer asked a similar medical question, the AI immediately recognized the boundary, expressed empathy, and provided a link to a peer-reviewed study, while explicitly stating it could not give medical advice. The potential outcome was a customer who felt respected and a brand that remained legally bulletproof. Step 3 is the adversarial red teaming phase. In 2026, you cannot assume your constitution is perfect until you try to break it. This is a technical process where you hire a specialized consultant or use a red team AI to perform what we call prompt injection attacks on your own system. The red team AI tries to trick your sales bot into giving away products for free, revealing sensitive company data, or making offensive statements. Historical trends show that 90% of business AIs can be tricked within the first 10 minutes if they haven't undergone rigorous red teaming. By stress testing the constitution, you identify the loopholes and patch them before they are exploited by the public. Furthermore, we must address the 2026 updates to the Consumer AI Rights Act and the CCPA. These laws now require that any autonomous system interacting with a U.S. citizen must maintain a transparent audit log. This means that for every email your system sends, you must store the technical reasoning behind that communication. If a regulator ever knocks on your door, you need to be able to show exactly why the AI chose that specific language and which part of its constitution it was following. Flux Retention and Apollo Neural now offer these audit vaults as standard features, ensuring that your automation is not a black box, but a glass box. The technical depth of these systems also extends to data governance. In 2026, we utilize zero-knowledge inference. This is a breakthrough that allows your AI to process customer data and make decisions without the raw data ever being decrypted in the cloud. Your emails are personalized based on the user's history, but the AI never actually sees the plaintext name, address, or financial details of the customer. This provides a layer of protection that makes standard 2024 encryption look like a padlock on a screen door. For a U.S. business owner, this is the ultimate peace of mind. You can scale your personalization to millions of people, while knowing that even in the event of a server breach, your customers' private lives remain private. As we look at the data from the first half of 2026, we see a clear divide. Companies that treat AI governance as an afterthought are suffering from high churn, brand erosion, and regulatory friction. Meanwhile, the top 1%, the companies using the tools we have discussed with a constitutional backbone, are seeing a massive trust dividend. In an age where people are skeptical of everything they read online, a brand that is consistently ethical, accurate, and helpful becomes a lighthouse in the storm. We have now covered the software, the strategy, the voice, and the governance. But there is one final piece of the 2026 puzzle that no one is talking about, and it is the most practical challenge of them all. All of this high-level AI processing, the dual-model architectures, the vectorized profiles, and the continuous red teaming, comes with a massive computational cost. If you are running these systems through standard cloud APIs, your monthly bill could easily exceed your revenue. How are the smartest founders in the United States running these sophisticated agents for pennies on the dollar? How do you move your entire email infrastructure from the expensive cloud into a localized, private environment that you control? The final frontier of our masterclass is the hardware revolution. We are going to discuss the transition to local inference and edge-based automation. This is how you reclaim your margins and ensure that your AI empire is built on your own land, not rented space. In the next part, we will dive into the specific hardware setups and private server configurations that allow you to run these top 3 tools with zero latency and near zero cost. The era of the $50,000 API bill is over, and we are about to show you exactly how to build your own private AI powerhouse. The financial reality of 2026 has created a massive divide in the American business landscape. On one side, you have companies still tethered to high-cost cloud APIs, paying for every single token and every single thought their AI generates. On the other side, we are seeing the rise of the sovereign founder, entrepreneurs who have realized that to truly own their business, they must own their intelligence. We are currently witnessing a hardware revolution that is effectively ending the era of the $15,000 monthly OpenAI or Anthropic bill. If your email marketing strategy involves sending millions of hyper-personalized messages, you cannot afford to rent your brain from a third party forever. You need to transition to local inference and edge-based automation. To see the potential outcomes of this shift, consider the case study of a business owner named Alex, who runs a high-volume recruitment agency in Seattle, Washington. In late 2025, Alex was using a combination of the three tools we have discussed: Apollo for outreach, Klaviyo for nurturing, and Flux for retention. His business was thriving, but his overhead was astronomical. Because every single email was being processed through high-end cloud models to ensure perfect brand voice alignment and sentimental accuracy, Alex was spending upwards of $12,000 every month just on API tokens. His historical trends showed that as his list grew, his margins were actually shrinking. He was successful on paper, but he was essentially a tenant of the major AI labs. In January 2026, Alex made the move to a local AI infrastructure. He invested in a dedicated AI workstation, a machine equipped with dual NVIDIA Blackwell series GPUs, and 256 gigabytes of unified memory. Instead of sending his customer data to a remote server in Virginia or Iowa, he began running open-weights models like Llama 4 and Mistral Large directly from his office in Seattle. By utilizing a technique called quantization, specifically 4-bit and 8-bit compression, Alex was able to run models with 70 billion parameters locally with near zero latency. The technical implications of this are profound. When you run your AI locally, your cost per email drops from a fraction of a cent to the cost of the electricity required to power your server. For a high-volume sender like Alex, this meant his $12,000 monthly bill was replaced by a one-time hardware investment of $15,000 and a monthly electricity increase of about $40. He achieved a full return on his investment in less than 60 days. But the financial savings are only half the story. The real breakthrough was in speed and data sovereignty. Imagine if your email system could process 10,000 customer profiles in seconds without waiting for a cloud queue. Because Alex's AI was sitting on his local network, his integration with his CRM was instantaneous. He implemented what we call a local vector database, which indexed every interaction, resume, and email thread his agency had ever handled. When his AI agent needed to draft a personalized outreach email, it didn't have to fetch data from across the internet. It performed a local semantic search, retrieved the relevant context in milliseconds, and synthesized the email immediately. Step 1 for implementing this in your own business is the hardware acquisition phase. In 2026, you don't need a massive server room. You need what we call an AI Nuke or a Mac Studio M4 Ultra. The key metric you are looking for is VRAM, Video Random Access Memory. This is the fuel that allows an AI model to think. To run the high-level voice synthesis and behavioral sculpting we discussed in Part 6 and 7, you generally need at least 128 gigabytes of VRAM to keep the entire model and the customer context window in memory simultaneously. Step 2 is the deployment of a local inference engine like Allama or VLLM. These are software layers that allow your local hardware to act like a private API. Once this is set up, you can point your marketing tools like your custom Klaviyo or Apollo integrations to your local IP address instead of a cloud URL. Your tools still function exactly the same way, but the brain doing the work is now sitting in your closet or under your desk. This creates a zero data exfiltration environment. In an era where US data privacy laws are becoming increasingly strict, being able to tell your customers that their data never leaves your physical premises is a massive competitive advantage. Step 3 is the fine-tuning and distillation process. Because you own the hardware, you can run training loops overnight. Alex used his local workstation to perform a technique called DPO, Direct Preference Optimization. He would feed the model 2 versions of an email and tell it which one was more successful. Because he wasn't paying for training tokens, he could run these loops thousands of times until the model was a perfect replica of his best sales rep. He then distilled that massive 70 billion parameter model into a smaller, 8 billion parameter version that could run on a laptop, allowing his team to have the full power of the agency's intelligence even when they were traveling or working offline. The depth of this shift cannot be overstated. We are moving toward a world where every US small business has its own private neural core. Historical trends in 2026 show that the most resilient businesses are those that have decoupled their intelligence from the cloud. They are immune to API price hikes, they are immune to service outages, and they are immune to the changing terms of service of the big tech giants. They have built a digital fortress. However, there is a final technical hurdle that even local hardware can't solve on its own. While you can now generate the content and the strategy for pennies, you still have to deliver those emails through the global web of internet service providers. And in 2026, those ISPs have started charging a reputation tax. They are prioritizing emails that can prove they were generated by a verified, ethical source. If your local AI is too good, if it's too efficient, it can actually trigger the very spam filters you are trying to avoid. How do you prove to Google and Microsoft that your AI-generated emails are high quality and desired by the recipient? How do you maintain a perfect sender score when your volume is 10 times higher than it was a year ago? The answer lies in a new protocol that has just been adopted by the major US tech hubs. It is a system of digital watermarking and proof of intent. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to look at the emerging world of verified email protocols. We will discuss how to sign your AI-generated communications with a cryptographic key that tells the world your content is premium, not spam. This is the final layer of the 2026 infrastructure, and it is the difference between your emails landing in the primary inbox or the graveyard of the promotions tab. Stay with me because we are about to enter the world of cryptographic deliverability. Cryptographic deliverability is the final gatekeeper of the 2026 digital economy. If you fail to pass this technical hurdle, it doesn't matter how incredible your AI-generated copy is or how precise your behavioral targeting has become. In the United States today, the major internet service providers, Google, Microsoft, and Apple, have moved toward a zero-trust inbox architecture. This transition was accelerated by the 2026 ISP Accord, a landmark agreement where these tech giants implemented a mandatory reputation tax on all commercial senders. To survive this, you need the third and final tool in our 2026 masterclass, TrustGraph AI. This isn't a content tool or a lead gen tool. It is a cryptographic authentication layer that validates the intent and the origin of every single byte your business transmits. To understand the potential outcomes of this system, let us look at the case study of a woman named Elena. Elena owns a high-end residential real estate agency in Charlotte, North Carolina. In 2024, Elena's primary growth lever was sending personalized property alerts to her database. But by late 2025, her deliverability plummeted. Even though her clients had opted in, the new AI-driven spam filters used by Gmail were flagging her emails as low-value machine-generated noise. Because her competitors were also using AI to flood the market, the ISPs responded by raising the barriers to entry. Elena's open rates crashed from 35% to a dismal 9%, almost overnight. Elena solved this by integrating TrustGraph AI. This platform utilizes a protocol called C2PA for email, which stands for the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity. When Elena's local AI server generates a property report, TrustGraph doesn't just send it. It injects a cryptographic watermark into the email's header metadata. This watermark is a digital signature that proves three things to the receiving mail server. First, that the sender's identity is verified through a decentralized ledger. Second, that the content has not been altered by a third party in transit. And third, that the AI was guided by a verified human intent. Historical trends show that emails carrying a C2PA signature are 20 times more likely to bypass the promotions tab and land directly in the primary inbox. Imagine if your email carried a digital passport that was automatically scanned and approved by the world's most sophisticated gatekeepers before it even arrived. That is what TrustGraph provides. For Elena, the impact was immediate. Her open rates didn't just return to their 2024 levels, they surpassed them, reaching 48%. Because she was one of the few realtors in the Charlotte area using cryptographic deliverability, her emails were prioritized by the algorithms. She wasn't just another voice in the crowd. She was a verified, high-trust sender. The technical implementation of TrustGraph AI involves a three-step process that is now standard for any serious U.S. business in 2026. Step 1 is the identity minting phase. You move beyond the old SPF and DKIM records. TrustGraph creates a sovereign identity for your brand on a private permission blockchain that is recognized by the major ISPs. This identity is tied to your business's legal registration and your historical sender behavior. It is your brand's permanent reputation score, and it is portable. If you ever switch email service providers, your reputation stays with you because it is tied to your cryptographic key, not your IP address. Step 2 is the intent header injection. In 2026, the ISPs want to see more than just a sender. They want to see the reason for the communication. TrustGraph monitors your AI's decision-making process, the logic we discussed in the Ghost protocol, and generates a proof of intent. This is a small snippet of encrypted code included in the email header that explains to the receiving server why this specific message was sent to this specific person at this specific time. For example, it might signal, "This email is being sent because the recipient viewed 3 articles on luxury condos in the last 12 hours. When the receiving server sees this proof of intent, it recognizes the high relevance and grants the email a VIP pass through the filters. Step 3 is reputation staking. This is the most controversial but effective part of the 2026 landscape. To prove you are not a spammer, TrustGraph allows you to stake a small amount of digital credit against your sender reputation. If your emails receive a high number of manual spam reports, you lose that stake. This creates a financial and reputational deterrent for bad actors. Historical trends indicate that this staking mechanism has reduced global spam volume by nearly 40% in 2026. For a legitimate business owner like Elena, it is a way to prove her commitment to quality. It tells the ISPs, "I am so confident in the value of my content that I am willing to put my reputation on the line." The depth of TrustGraph AI also includes what we call sentiment match deliverability. In 2026, the mail servers at Microsoft Outlook are capable of analyzing the emotional impact of a message before the user opens it. If an email is judged to be high stress or manipulative, it is quarantined. TrustGraph acts as a pre-flight filter, using its own internal model to analyze your outbound emails against the latest ISP sentiment guidelines. If it detects a tone that might trigger a filter, such as over-aggressive sales language or misleading subject lines, it automatically flags the email for a rewrite before it is ever sent. This leads us to a crucial technical detail regarding the 2026 US market: the rise of the individual inbox agent. Most of your customers in 2026 are now using their own personal AI to manage their emails. These agents, like the ones built into the latest iPhone and Android devices, act as personal assistants that summarize emails and decide which ones deserve the user's attention. If your email isn't cryptographically verified, these personal agents will simply summarize it as low-priority marketing and move it to a digest that the user may never read. TrustGraph ensures that your communication is marked as high-priority verified, which instructs the user's personal AI to present your message as a notification rather than a summary. We have now assembled the full 2026 automation stack. We have Klaviyo's neural engine for hyper-personalized nurturing. We have Apollo Neural for autonomous peer-to-peer outbound growth. And we have TrustGraph AI for cryptographic deliverability and reputation management. This is the three-headed dragon of modern email marketing. But even with these tools, there is one final, overarching question that every business owner must answer. How do you orchestrate all of this without becoming a slave to the technology? How do you keep the big picture in focus when you have millions of autonomous micro-decisions happening every hour? We have talked about the tools, the strategy, the hardware, and the governance. But in the final part of this masterclass, we are going to look at the founder's dashboard, the specific way you must manage your business in the age of autonomy. We are going to discuss the transition from a manager to an architect. We will look at the specific KPIs that actually matter in 2026 and how to conduct a weekly AI audit to ensure your system is still aligned with your core human values. This is where we bring everything together and show you how to truly step back and let the machine work while you focus on the vision. The journey from automation to a truly autonomous business is about to reach its conclusion. Prepare for the final synthesis. The final synthesis of your 2026 email marketing strategy requires a fundamental shift in your identity as a business owner. You are no longer a content creator, a list manager, or even a digital marketer. In the age of total autonomy, you have become a systems architect. The three tools we have mastered, Klaviyo's autonomous neural engine, Apollo Neural, and TrustGraph AI, form the infrastructure. But the way you oversee this infrastructure determines whether your business scales or collapses under its own complexity. This is the stage where we move from the technical implementation to the strategic orchestration. We are looking at the founder's dashboard, a centralized nerve center that allows you to monitor thousands of autonomous micro-decisions without getting lost in the noise. To see the potential outcomes of this architectural shift, let us look at the case study of a woman named Catherine, who runs a high-growth executive coaching firm based in New York City. By mid-2026, Catherine had fully integrated the three-tool stack. She had Apollo Neural handling her high-ticket outbound outreach to Fortune 500 VPs. She had the Klaviyo Neural Engine managing the long-term nurturing of over 100,000 subscribers. And she had TrustGraph AI ensuring that her reputation remained pristine across all major ISPs. Catherine's business was generating more high-quality leads than her previous human sales team of 5 ever could, but she faced a new challenge: how to stay in control of a machine that never sleeps. Catherine implemented what we now call the Trinity of 2026 KPIs. These are not the metrics of the past. Historical trends show that by 2026, standard metrics like open rate and click-through rate have become secondary indicators, often skewed by the automated agents that customers use to filter their own inboxes. Instead, Catherine focused on 3 sophisticated data points: sentiment velocity, compute efficiency, and the trust dividend. Sentiment velocity is the first and most critical metric on the founder's dashboard. It measures the rate at which the collective emotional state of your audience is shifting toward or away from your brand. Catherine's dashboard utilized the emotional sentiment engine from Flex Retention to aggregate every interaction across her email list. If the sentiment velocity dipped below a certain threshold, indicating a rise in frustration or a drop in engagement, the system didn't just alert her. It automatically initiated a global cooldown, where the frequency of outreach was reduced and the tone of all autonomous agents was shifted toward high-value, low-pressure support. This prevented the kind of brand erosion that happens when machines push too hard for a sale. The second metric, compute efficiency, is a direct result of the hardware revolution we discussed in Part 8. Since Catherine was running her AI models locally on a private server in her Manhattan office, she began measuring the cost of intelligence. She tracked the conversion value generated per kilowatt-hour of server usage. This might sound like industrial engineering, but in 2026, this is how you protect your margins. By optimizing her local inference settings, switching between a 70 billion parameter model for complex strategy and an 8 billion parameter model for simple follow-ups, Catherine was able to reduce her operational costs while maintaining the same level of output. The third metric is the trust dividend. This is the measurable increase in deliverability and engagement granted by the cryptographic signatures of Trust Graph AI. Catherine's dashboard showed her a real-time heat map of her deliverability across different ISPs and geographic regions. If her trust dividend began to sag in the Midwest, the system would analyze the local sentiment and adjust the cryptographic proof of intent to better align with regional expectations. This level of granular, automated management is what allowed Catherine to maintain a 45% open rate on a list of 100,000 people, a feat that was statistically impossible for a manual marketer. However, the most important part of Catherine's week was the Sunday AI audit. This is the step-by-step process of ensuring that your autonomous empire is still aligned with your human vision. Step 1 of the audit involves reviewing the supervisor model logs. As we discussed in Part 7, the supervisor model acts as the governor of your brand constitution. During her audit, Catherine would look for what we call moral friction, instances where the worker model tried to send an email that the supervisor flagged as a violation. For example, the AI might have tried to use a high-pressure closing tactic that contradicted Catherine's constitution of radical transparency. By reviewing these friction points, Catherine could refine her brand voice synthesis and ensure her AI was becoming a more accurate reflection of her actual values. Step 2 of the audit is the latent space drift analysis. AI models, much like humans, can develop biases over time as they ingest more data. Catherine would use a specialized tool to visualize the drift in her AI's communication style. If the AI was starting to sound too clinical or too eager, she would perform a micro-fine-tuning session using a fresh batch of her own voice memos and writing samples. This ensured that the soul of the brand remained intact even as the volume of communications reached the millions. Step 3 is the strategic objective reset. In 2026, you don't change your emails. You change the objective function. Catherine would look at her business goals for the next quarter. If she wanted to focus on launching a new high-ticket mastermind, she would instruct the AI to shift the weight of its decisions toward identifying the top 1% of her most engaged subscribers. The AI would then recalculate every touchpoint, every sequence, and every cold outreach strategy to align with that single goal. Imagine if you could spend your entire work week on the things that actually move the needle: research, high-level partnerships, and product innovation, while the most sophisticated digital labor force in history handled the execution. This is the promise of 2026. The tools we have analyzed are not just software, they are an extension of your intent. By building a business on the foundation of the Clavio Neural Engine, Apollo Neural and Trust Graph AI, you are creating an asset that has intrinsic value beyond your own personal labor. You are building a sovereign business that can survive and thrive in a world of infinite noise. Historical trends show that we are currently in a brief window where these technologies provide a massive competitive advantage. But as more US businesses adopt these autonomous stacks, the baseline for what constitutes a good customer experience will continue to rise. The winners of 2027 and beyond will not be the ones with the best AI, but the ones with the most clearly defined human values. Your AI is a mirror. If your vision is blurred, the machine will only amplify that confusion. But if your vision is clear, these tools will carry it to every corner of the globe with a precision that was once the stuff of science fiction. We have reached the end of this deep dive masterclass, but this is only the beginning of your implementation. The transition from a manual business to an autonomous one is a journey of 1,000 micro adjustments. You now have the blueprint for the software, the strategy, the governance, the hardware, and the deliverability. You have seen how Sarah, Marcus, Liam, Alex, and Catherine have used these tools to reclaim their time and scale their impact. Now the question is, which part of your business will you automate first? While we have mastered the world of email, there is an even more volatile and high-reward frontier that is currently undergoing a similar transformation. As we look toward late 2026, the battle for attention is shifting from the inbox to the visual space. A new wave of autonomous video agents is beginning to emerge, capable of generating entire video marketing campaigns based on the same sentiment data we have discussed today. If you think the shift in email was radical, wait until you see what happens when your AI begins to speak and move. In our next deep dive series, we are going to explore the world of AI video autonomy and how to integrate it with your existing email stack to create a truly omni-channel autonomous brand. The future is moving faster than ever, and we are just getting started.